The Canary Islands. 7 main islands in the Atlantic, closer to Africa than Spain. Each one volcanic, but each with its own rhythm, landscapes, and history. In this video, we'll move from west to east, island by island, as if traveling by boat. From the smallest cliffs to the widest beaches. This is the ultimate guide. We start in El Hierro, the smallest Canary Island, with fewer than 12,000 people. For centuries, it was seen as the edge of the known world. The zero meridian passed through here before Greenwich took its place. It's an island of steep cliffs, natural pools like Charco Azul, and deep blue Atlantic waters that attract divers. Today, it's also known for its energy experiment. Almost entirely powered by wind and water, El Hierro is a model for sustainable living on remote islands. There are no big resorts here, just quiet villages, twisting roads, and a feeling of remoteness you don't find on the larger islands. From El Hierro, the ferry takes us northeast to La Gomera. This island is famous for its steep valleys, its walking trails, and the green heart of Parque Nacional de Garajonay, a UNESCO World Heritage Site with ancient laurel forests, often wrapped in mist. Columbus stopped here in 1492 at San Sebastián de la Gomera, before sailing west across the Atlantic. The island also kept its unique whistling language, Silbo Gomero, once used by shepherds to communicate across valleys. La Gomera isn't about beaches or resorts. It's for travelers who like hiking, small mountain villages, and landscapes that feel untouched. Then comes Tenerife, the biggest of the Canaries. Tenerife is an island split between black volcanic slopes and golden beaches. You can stand on the shore in the morning with the Atlantic at your feet, then be above the clouds by afternoon. Along the way are quiet villages and winding roads that show how many different worlds fit on one island. Esta es tu guía de viaje a Tenerife. On the south coast, Costa Agaete and Playa de las Américas are Tenerife's main resort areas. This part of the island is dry and sunny almost year-round, with some of the most reliable winter weather in Europe. The beaches are a mix of natural volcanic sand and lighter sand brought in from elsewhere, giving each stretch a different look. Long promenades connect the resorts, making it easy to walk or cycle between them. Costa Agaete is known for newer hotels and family-friendly beaches, while Playa de las Américas has a busier nightlife scene that grew rapidly in the 1970s when mass tourism first arrived. Together, they're the hub of Tenerife's holiday coast. Next door is Los Cristianos, which began as a small fishing village. The old harbor is still active, with ferries running daily to the other Canarian islands, worth knowing if you want to see more than just one island. Its main beach is sheltered, making it popular with families and quieter than some of the nearby resort areas. Los Cristianos also has a warmer, drier climate compared to the north, so it's a reliable choice for winter sun. Behind the waterfront, you'll still find narrow streets, local cafes, and reminders of the town before tourism reshaped it. It's one of the few places in the south where you can feel both the pace of a working port and the atmosphere of a holiday town. On the north coast, Puerto de la Cruz is one of Tenerife's original resort towns, first attracting visitors in the 19th century when northern Europeans came here for the mild climate. It's cooler and greener than the south, with more cloud cover and higher humidity, which makes the area good for gardens and vineyards. The town mixes black sand beaches with historic plazas, traditional Canarian houses, and the botanical gardens, created in the late 1700s for acclimatizing tropical plants. One of the main landmarks is Lago Martianes, a large complex of seawater pools designed in the 1970s by the artist Cesar Manrique. This area feels less purpose-built than the southern resorts, with more of an everyday town atmosphere, and it's a good base for travelers who prefer culture and history over nightlife. Santa Cruz, on the northeastern tip, is Tenerife's capital and main port. The Spanish founded it in 1494 after defeating the local Guanche people, and since then, it's grown into a key Atlantic trading stop. The city mixes older districts, with colorful houses and narrow lanes, with modern landmarks. It's also home to one of Spain's biggest carnivals, held every February, which fills the streets with parades and music. Just outside the city is Playa de las Teresitas, an artificial beach built in the 1970s with golden sand imported from the Sahara. Santa Cruz isn't only a tourist stop, it's a working city, which makes it a contrast to the resort towns in the south, and a good place to see another side of Tenerife. The center of Tenerife is dominated by Mount Teide, Spain's highest peak at 3,718 meters. The volcanic landscape here is one of the most dramatic in the Canary Islands, with craters, rock formations, and views that stretch across the Atlantic. A cable car takes you close to the summit, but the highest point is reached by foot with a permit. Another place worth visiting is Masca, a small mountain village surrounded by steep ravines. Tenerife brings together a lot for one island. Beaches and ports, mountain roads and volcanic craters, historic towns and modern resorts. It's an island where the scenery changes as quickly as the road ahead. Northwest lies La Palma, often called La Isla Bonita, the beautiful island. It's one of the greenest Canaries, with forests, ravines, and dramatic peaks. At over 2,400 meters, Roque de los Muchachos is home to one of the world's most important observatories, where scientists study the night sky with almost no light pollution. But La Palma also shows the raw force of nature. In 2021, a volcanic eruption at Cumbre Vieja reshaped parts of the island, covering villages and creating new land along the coast. The capital, Santa Cruz de la Palma, has cobbled streets and colonial balconies, a quieter contrast to the volcanic drama. La Palma draws hikers, astronomers, and travelers looking for something more local. Its hiking network is among the best in the Canaries, with trails that cross ancient forests, volcanic ridges, and coastal paths. And while tourism exists here, it feels smaller, more personal, almost as if the island was made for slower travel. Sailing southeast, we reach one of the most visited islands, Gran Canaria, an island of contrast. From a brown, sunburnt landscape and sharp cliffs to luxury, all-inclusive hotels. It's a place with many faces. High volcanic peaks rise above it all. For 20 years, I kept coming back here until the growing tourism made me stop. But I wanted to see if it's still worth the trip in 2025. At the southern tip, Maspalomas is known for its wide dunes. It's a nature reserve, and actually a real desert stretching to the sea. You might take a walk and pretend that you are in the Sahara. Playa del Inglés is next door, a long, busy beach with restaurants, bars, and hotels. It's a bustling area, particularly popular with British tourists. The southern part is the sunniest part of the island, with great weather even in January. Puerto Rico is a purpose-built resort with a sheltered bay and marina. Just around the corner is Amadores Beach, an artificial beach created in the 1990s with imported white sand, often reported as from the Caribbean. The breakwaters keep the water calm, giving it the feel of a huge outdoor pool. Follow the coast west, and you reach Puerto de Mogán, a small port town with canals, whitewashed houses, and bougainvillea-covered balconies. It's quieter than Puerto Rico and has one of the most scenic waterfronts on the island. Las Palmas was founded in 1478 during the Castilian conquest and quickly became a vital Atlantic stop for ships heading to the Americas. The old quarter of Agaete still shows its colonial roots in cobblestone streets and historic buildings. Down by the shore, Las Canteras is the city's main beach, protected by a natural reef known as La Barra, which keeps the water calm for swimmers. The promenade behind it runs for nearly 3 kilometers, lined with cafes where the city meets the sea. In the center of the island, Roque Nublo rises from a plateau of volcanic rock. It's an easy hike to the top, with views across the island and, on clear days, to Mount Teide on Tenerife. Temperatures here can be 10 degrees cooler than the coast. Caldera de Tejeda is a vast volcanic crater surrounded by villages and almond groves. In late winter, the blossoms turn the hills pink and white. Other places on Gran Canaria include Agaete, a small port backed by cliffs and green valleys, Teror with its wooden balconies and Sunday market, the quiet beach of San Agustín, and Arguineguín, still known for its fishing boats. At Anfi del Mar, the white sand was brought in from the Caribbean to create a tropical-style bay. Gran Canaria shifts with the road. Beaches, mountains, towns, and valleys, each with their own weather, light, and pace. Find the place that suits you best, and you might never go home. From Gran Canaria, the ferries head east to Fuerteventura. Fuerteventura is one of the oldest Canary Islands, its volcanic origins stretching back around 20 million years. The land feels it too. Wide, wind-carved plains, long beaches, and sharp cliffs rising from the sea. Winters stay mild, summers bring heat, and the wind is always close. At the northern tip lies Corralejo, both a town and a resort. The streets mix old fishermen's houses with restaurants and surf shops, while just outside spreads Parque Natural de Corralejo. Here the dunes roll down to beaches that shift with the wind, white sand against turquoise water. The dunes themselves are made from crushed shells, blown inland by the trade winds, giving them a lighter color than the island's volcanic ground. From the harbor, ferries run to the other Canary Islands, or the smaller island of Lobos, a quiet escape for a day trip. On the west coast is El Cotillo, a slower, smaller town. The beaches here are wilder, open Atlantic waves hitting long stretches of sand. Just north, volcanic rock forms shallow lagoons, where the water stays calm and clear. It's a good balance between raw coast and sheltered coves. In the mountains at the center lies Betancuria, once the first capital of the island, founded in 1404 by the Norman conquerors. Today it's a small village of whitewashed houses, a quiet church square, and narrow streets that feel far from the coast. It's a stop for history, not beaches, and a reminder of how early life on the island began. Further south, Costa Calma feels built for holidays. Long hotels, big beaches, and steady sun. Just past it begins Sotavento, one of Fuerteventura's most famous shores. Twice a day, the tide pulls back and creates wide lagoons, turning the beach into a mirror of sky and sand. With strong winds, it's a hot spot for windsurfing and kitesurfing. Sotavento's shifting sandbars mean the beach never looks the same twice. Sometimes a wide lagoon, other times a long spit of sand reaching far into the sea. Locals say it's one of the few places where you can walk into the ocean without ever losing sight of the shore. On the far southwest lies Cofeti Beach, remote, unbuilt, and over 10 kilometers long. Backed by the high Jandia Mountains, it feels cut off from the rest of the island. Most days the ocean here is too rough for safe swimming, though experienced surfers sometimes take on the waves when conditions allow, but the landscapes are striking. It feels untouched, where the golden sand runs for kilometers beneath the jagged mountains, and the only sound is the wind and the waves. From the airport near Puerto del Rosario, it's an easy drive to most resorts. Renting a car is the best way to see the island, since buses mainly link the larger towns. The island is warm year-round, with winter temperatures around 20 degrees and summers in the high 20s to low 30s. The constant wind keeps the heat manageable, but also shapes when people visit. Winter and spring are popular with surfers and those escaping the cold, while summer brings calmer seas and long beach days. Autumn tends to be quieter, with fewer crowds and mild weather. Other places worth mentioning is Montaña Roja, a volcanic cone in red, where a short hike gives wide views over the north of the island. Las Playitas, a fishing village turned coastal getaway, with quiet beaches and a small harbor tucked into the cliffs. Fuerteventura isn't about cities or crowds. It's about space, open horizons, shifting dunes, and beaches that seem to have no end. It's a place shaped by wind and time, where the ocean is always the edge of the story. Finally, we reach Lanzarote, the eastern edge of the Canaries, where volcanic rock meets modern tourism. Lanzarote looks different from the other Canary Islands. Black volcanic fields stretch for miles, and sharp cliffs drop into the Atlantic. The last big eruption was only 300 years ago, and the island still feels marked by it. It's not only about beaches here, though there are plenty, but about an island shaped by fire, design, and a slower way of life. On the southern tip of Lanzarote is Playa Blanca. It began as a fishing village, but today it's a main resort area with a long promenade and ferries running to the other Canary Islands. A short drive east are the Papagayo beaches, small golden coves, some of the best natural swimming spots on the island. Clear water, calm, and surrounded by volcanic cliffs. Puerto del Carmen is the busiest resort on the island. The seafront runs for kilometers, lined with restaurants, bars, and places to stay. Behind the beach, life goes late into the night. It's where most visitors first get to know the island, but a short trip inland brings you back to small villages and quieter landscapes. Arrecife is the capital and the center of daily life. It's smaller than you'd expect, with a working port and old defenses built against pirates. Castillo de San Gabriel still stands on a small island, linked by a stone bridge. In town, you'll find shops, markets, and a rhythm that feels different from the tourist coast. In the middle of the island is Parque Nacional de Timanfaya, the island's most famous volcanic landscape. The ground here is still hot, just below the surface. Guides show how dry brush bursts into flame or water turns into steam. Bus tours loop through the lava fields, red, black, and silent. It's a landscape that looks almost otherworldly. Next door is La Hierro, where wine is grown in volcanic ash. Farmers dig small craters in the black gravel, each with a vine planted inside and a low wall to protect it from the wind. The method has been used for centuries, and the local white Malvasia wine is still made this way today. Other places to visit include the cliffs at Famara, popular with surfers, the lookout of Mirador del Rio, with its view over the small island of La Graciosa, and the Black Beach, El Golfo. It's known for its black volcanic beach and the green lagoon beside it. A small fishing village with fresh seafood and wide Atlantic sunsets. Lanzarote feels different from the other Canary Islands. Less green, more volcanic, and shaped by how people adapted to it. Between the beaches, the caves, and the vineyards in black ash, it's a place where fire and sea still meet.